one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
I can't even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I dump when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off of the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit. My game slide to boost it. Ain't I don't have to prove shit. Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit. Nigga, I know on these news clips. That's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch. Won't be around when they lose clips. Won't be around for they lose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, Ravens. What you thought you were going to have to pay him, you're going to have to pay him more.
Yeah, I really don't think I'm exaggerating when I say last night, Sunday night football game might have been the worst. But I got to think about it for a second because Jameis and Baker did play yesterday and put on a mid performance, but last night might have been the worst performance from two quarterbacks I've seen in a Sunday night football game. And I refuse to believe it'll be another game that's that bad with the quarterback play. From both quarterbacks. From both of them. Hey, yo, what's up? How we doing today? Hope everybody's having a dope day. I'm actually recording this in the morning time. I tried to record last night, ended up falling asleep. I actually did not end up falling asleep. My throat started hurting real bad. Then I fell asleep. We back. I'm going to do the video breaking. I didn't do my update video this week where it's basically predicting the games. I'm going to tell you the games that I would have chose, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I got no point in doing that. You know what I'm saying? My record was already ugly from week 1. But I'm going to tell you the teams that I expect. Like, first off, I thought the Bills was going to beat the Dolphins, and the Dolphins ended up winning that game. Shout out to the Dolphins. The Dolphins' defense is strange. They give up a lot of plays, a lot of yards, but they make a lot of big-time plays at the end of the day. They did it in Baltimore last week. They did it this week against the Bills. So shout out to them. 3-0, first place in their division. But I'm going to go through the games, but I want to talk about Sunday night's game. I want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens game. I want to talk about a couple things. So, and some shout-outs real quick. Shout out to Aaron. Matter of fact, where my pen at? So I just wasted a whole bag of popcorn, yo. Orville Redenbacher. I got to get the Orville Redenbacher, like, mini bags, because I'll kill a mini bag of popcorn. But those big bags of popcorn, those shits are a dub for me, bro, because I don't really like popcorn like that. I can't find my pen, man. That's tragic. That is tragic. Well, anyways, fuck the pen. Listen, shout out Aaron Donald. Number 99 got 100 career sacks. Shout out to him. Shout out to Roger Federer, retiring, one of the GOATs of tennis. Shout out to Serena Williams retiring, GOAT of tennis. Shout out to the Las Vegas Aces winning the WNBA championship this year. Kelsey Plum, big baller. Asia, big dog. Wilson, big baller, along with the other big ballers on that team because it's really a stacked team. What's my other shout outs? It's another one. Shout out to the reigning champs once again, Steph Curry and them boys. That wasn't a planned shout out, but I couldn't think of who else I was supposed to be shouting out, so I just want to go ahead and shout out Steph again because he is him. Shout out to Aaron Judge on 62 home runs. Shout out to the machine, Albert Pujols, the walking legend, for 700 career home runs. And he got to do it against the Dodgers, a team that picked him up last year and helped him basically get this little late resurgence. And if it's another shout out, I'll remember it throughout the video. But just to run through the games yesterday, the Lions ended up losing in Minnesota 24-28. The Saints lost in Carolina 14-22. The Raiders lost in Tennessee 22-24. The Packers won in Tampa 14-12. Cincinnati got their first win of the season in New York against the Jets 27-12. Baltimore picked up a win in New England 37-26. The Texans lost in Chicago 20-23. The Rams won in Arizona 2012. Atlanta won in Seattle 27-23. Philly won in Washington 24-28. Jacksonville won in LA against the Chargers 38-10. KC lost in Indy 17-20. Buffalo lost in Miami 19-21. And the Denver Broncos won at home against Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers 10-11. Now, I want to start off with that game. I'm probably going to end it with the Lamar Jackson talk. I am very much confused how people continue to say, because it was a crusade going on that the 49ers are a better team with Jimmy Garoppolo. Every single sports analyst, sports media member, aside from Nick Wright, and I don't even like Nick Wright, and I think most of his takes is just absolutely foolish. But at least he was not one of the people who was pushing this narrative that the 49ers are a better team with Jimmy Garoppolo. I like Jimmy Garoppolo. If you listen to me last year, I go into depth about the type of player that I think Jimmy Garoppolo is. You know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. But if you think that Jimmy Garoppolo give this team the best chance of winning, I think that you give him far too much credit for team success, into which case this is a problem with quarterback wins. Because quarterback wins, I do think, is a quarterback stat for some quarterbacks. Because there are clearly quarterbacks who influence winning on another level for a team. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Those are three quarterbacks who so very clearly add wins to a team's total that quarterback wins is a stat for those dudes. Jimmy Garoppolo, to me, is not the same. Okay? To me, Kyle Shanahan is so very clearly a huge influence on that team and his offensive play calling. The defense and what they can do on that team and the run game, all Jimmy got to do is be a great game manager. So for the people who was running around saying he gave them a better chance than Trey Lance just because Trey Lance is a young guy, I don't know at what point in time it was where we stopped giving rookies a chance to be good, to develop. And it's specifically happening to Trey Lance because I still see people give Trevor Lawrence a shot. Maybe it's because Trey Lance playing for a team that's got high expectations, but that's not on Trey Lance. He didn't tell them to trade up and get him. The 49ers knew that they had Super Bowl aspirations, and they still traded up to get him for a reason. But looking at those people who kept telling me that Jimmy Garoppolo was, making this team so much. The game that Jimmy G played last night, and I done seen Jimmy G play some of the worst quarterback games I've ever seen. I think one of the funniest stats is he has never outplayed the opposing quarterback in a playoff game. Jimmy G got some of the worst playoff stats. Jimmy G just got bad stats a lot of times that we just like to gloss over because at the end of the day, everybody else did great enough to get the win. I love how they do that. But in the same breath, they try to shit on Lamar Jackson. But that's neither here nor there. Jimmy G probably played one of his worst games last night. And it's hard to say that because I done seen this type of game from Jimmy G. But what's funny was Russell Wilson probably hit one of his worst games last night. And I don't really know if this was his worst because I could go back and look at some of his games he done played against the Rams, the Packers. And you going to see some duds in there. But what I do know is, of all the Sunday night football games I done watched, this might have been the two worst quarterback performances I've ever seen. It feel like they took turns trying to see who could be worse. Not only did this game turn into a bunch of dinking and dunking, which was bad because I think it compounded it because the previous game most people were just watching was the Buccaneers and Packers game, and that was a game full of dinking and dunking. So I think that's what made people feel even worse about this game. But the Broncos defense was phenomenal last night. I thought the 49ers defense was good. I thought the Denver defense was great. Denver's defense went out there and took a win. They went out there and backpacked this team to a dub. What Denver's defense was able to do last night was unbelievable. And Denver's signing Randy Gregory in the offseason. What a fucking move. I didn't think Randy Gregory was this great. Boy, if Randy Gregory can stay healthy, stay on the field, and stay in a great scheme, Randy Gregory is going to end up having a late career surgeons. And I think he's still in his 20s. Like, Randy Gregory kind of remind me of Jadeveon Clowney, and he could possibly be better for the simple fact he's better at sacking quarterbacks than Jadeveon, even though I don't think Jadeveon Clowney have a lack of ability to sack quarterbacks as much as it is he is so great at doing everything else. So the reason he kind of remind me of Jadeveon, and I know some people be like, oh, because he got locks. No. So Randy Gregory, I think he's better at sacking the quarterback. But what other things he do is he great at defending the run. He great at disrupting the play. And he great at just getting his hands in the way of balls that's close to him. A lot of shit that Jadeveon Clowney can do. Like Jadeveon, if you only judge a player who play those positions off of sacks, then you're not going to like Jadeveon Clowney. And, sorry for you. But if you really look at Jadeveon Clowney play throughout his career, dude is exactly what you thought well, if you thought you was getting a Aaron Donald type sack numbers every year, then sorry for you. But what you get from Jadeveon Clowney is a mini Aaron Donald. He ain't Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald does everything. I even think Jadeveon Clowney might be the better run stopper than Aaron Donald. Now, granted, it's kind of skewed because Aaron Donald constantly got multiple people trying to defend him, so that can throw off his run defense because you can't try to stop a run if you got three dudes in your face. So to an extent, I would probably say they evenly matched at that. But obviously, Aaron Donald is far and away the better player. But Jadeveon Clowney's ability to disrupt games, stop the run, disrupt pass plays, get to the quarterback, pressure the quarterback, cause the quarterback to rush throws. I don't think Jadeveon Clowney get nearly enough credit. Like, this dude is an all-pro player. He done been a Pro Bowl player. Like, I don't understand why people don't realize the greatness in Jadeveon Clowney, but I think that's what Randy Gregory can be. And because he is already better at getting to the quarterback and bringing him down, Randy Gregory was a great pickup for Denver in the offseason. And Bradley Chubb in a rookie, not Bradley Chubb. Yeah, it is Bradley Chubb. He is in a contract year, and once again, like he made clutch sacks in the fourth quarter, and that's something great to have with Randy Gregory because, like Jadeveon Clowney, the type of player who is gonna make an impact throughout the entirety of a game because he's not relying just on getting a sack. He is so effective at so many other things that he can be effective throughout an entirety of a game. Randy Gregory knows that he ain't just there for sacks. He knows he can be a problem throughout the entirety of a game. So in the fourth quarter, Bradley Chubb can wake up and start getting his clutch sacks, and it worked off of each other so well. I love Patrick Surtain Jr. in the back. I think that Denver got one of the top defenses in the NFL. I really do. Now, granted, they was playing against a Jimmy G, but they also was playing against Kyle Shanahan, who I done seen make defenses look bad. Not last night. Denver's defense was phenomenal. Bro, it was a play where they forced Jimmy G to step out the back of the end zone for a safety, but he threw the ball as he was throwing out at the back of the end zone, but it was still caught. The man threw a pick six. So he had a safety pick six that only counted towards the safety because that happened first. But it ended up being a pick six, what his throw ended up becoming. Like, the Denver defense was so great last night. And to see how this offense for the Broncos just tried to do everything in its power to still lose this game. But the reality was, well, we playing against a quarterback who just as bad as Russ is tonight. And it was wild because, like, it got to a point where they were dinking and dunking so much on Denver, that shit wouldn't even work at the end of the game. They literally needed just one drive to finally get into the end zone and win this game because the defense legitimately did. And I even think on the drive that they scored, the defense had got them to a good part of the field anyways. Like, Denver's defense was legit last night. And this is one of the things that I wonder. Because I'm looking at the Saints, right? And I realize that team looked just like they looked with Dennis Allen as the DC and Sean Payton as the head coach. And I wonder to myself, as much as I like Dennis Allen, as much as you might say he deserved that opportunity because he's been there for so long, at what point do you look at that team and say, we trust the defense will still be great to the point where we don't need a defensive coordinator as our head coach? We don't know if this offense will be great under Dennis Allen, but we do know it'll have a chance if we go out and get an offensive-minded head coach. I don't understand why they make that decision. Whereas you look at Denver, I'm not the biggest Nathaniel Hackett guy, and I'm starting to have some doubts on Russ also. But the fact that they trusted that this defense would still be a great defense even after Vic Fangio, it say a lot to me. Like, they made the right decision as far as going for an offensive-minded head coach, because this defense don't need a defensive-minded head coach. And they not pulling defensive coordinators to be head coaches left and right like they were back in the day. So I think they made a good decision at going for an offensive-minded head coach, but I do not think Nathaniel Hackett's offensive play calling has been good. I don't know how the first game looked so offensively good. Maybe it's because they played against the Seahawks, and how all these other games look so bad. And even in that first game, they didn't score a touchdown in that Seahawks game. So this is a very weird. Is Russ aging before our eyes? Has he become just like an average quarterback? Because I didn't even realize Russ don't run the ball anymore. But if you look at that game and you look at him this year, yeah, Russ ain't really elusive no more. One of the things that I think Russ is, and this is amazing to me, that at this point in his career, he still is this bad at this. Russell Wilson run into more sacks than any fucking quarterback I think I've ever seen. Like that, I cannot remember the last quarterback I've seen run into as many sacks, put themselves in as much danger as Russell Wilson's pocket awareness, to be a to been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, to be a franchise quarterback, to still have this type of pocket awareness, like this lack of pocket awareness is just it's atrocious at this point. Like, Russell Wilson's pocket awareness is some of the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime of watching a quarterback at this level play. He run into sacks. He will spin into sacks. He will pay no attention to a linebacker who beat his man quickly off the side and step up or something like that. And what's crazy is you be like, yo, quarterback should step up in the pocket. Russ step up into sacks. Like, he don't even step up into clean. Like, a lot of people will blame Russ's offensive lines, and I do think Russ done had some iffy offensive lines. I think Joe Burrow has actually had the worst offensive line out of all of these people. Like, Eli Manning actually probably had the worst offensive line. Out of all the quarterbacks we talk about who take a lot of sacks over the last couple years, Eli Manning and Joe Burrow actually did have bad offensive lines. My thing with Joe Burrow this year, though, is he still hold on to the ball too long sometimes. Russell Wilson's pocket awareness, holding on to the ball too long, running in the sacks, stepping up in the sacks, spinning in the sacks, like doing a bunch of ridiculous a bunch of pointless running around in the backfield just to end up getting sacked. Like, to me, Russell Wilson's pocket awareness is just atrocious. It's atrocious. And maybe I heard how Richard Sherman and KJ was talking on Richard Sherman's podcast, the Richard Sherman podcast. I saw how they was talking about how Russ was held to a far higher standard than everybody else, or like he wasn't held to the same standard as everybody else. Boy, it kind of, you know, because it kind of makes sense when they say something like that, because there's no way that Russell Wilson at this point in his career should still be this bad in the pocket as far as pocket awareness. And I said this a while ago. I wasn't on the show. I've mentioned it on previous episodes, but Russell Wilson and those Seahawks teams the offense was always weird to me, because they didn't run a legitimate offense outside of Marshawn being great, especially when he left. It became just backyard football. And now Russ don't really play like that no more, so it don't feel like he run it. Like, to me, Nathaniel Hackett wasn't the right hire. You should have hired an offensive-minded guy. Yeah, you got that right. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett, because he coached Aaron Rodgers, was that the right answer. I really don't. Especially if you think Aaron Rodgers is who he is. Why would you think that Nathaniel Hackett, was one of the... I haven't even heard nobody give a great reason as to why he was hired. Anyway, aside from the fact that he was cool with Rodgers. So... between Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson, this offense looked god awful. Russell Wilson looked below average last night. He looked like he was lost for the majority of the night. And he have Sutton and Judy. two very competent receivers. So I don't understand how they can't formulate an offense to get these two guys involved. To get the fumbling by Gordon is just ridiculous. Gordon in third with his fumbling issues is ridiculous at this point. The Broncos defense gonna carry him a lot this year, but you did not expect after you paid Russell that type of money that your team would be defensive minded once again for like the fifth year. You thought you was gonna have a quarterback, and Russell Wilson has been atrocious the first 3 games of the season. Last night might have been one of the worst games I've seen from him in his career. But Jimmy G followed it up with one of his worst games. Jimmy G threw a pass in this game that got picked off. And some people be like, oh, the receiver tipped it. No, he didn't. Jimmy G threw a pass into triple coverage late in this game when these shits matter. He threw it into triple coverage, and it got tipped by one of the defenders and ended up getting picked off. And I'm looking at this play, and I'm like, Jimmy, why would you ever throw that pass? And this is what I said last year when I say Jimmy G have plays where he could make 2 great throws where you like, yo, this is why Kyle Shanahan and them boys like him. And on the very next fucking throw, he make a throw to say, yo, why the fuck is this dude a starting quarterback in the NFL? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And it's done got to the point where recently he do more of the why the fuck is this dude a starter in the NFL than he do of, yeah, that's why he the quarterback for them. Because to throw that pass with 3 motherfucking Broncos around, with the way Denver's defense have been playing all night, to believe that I just don't get it. I don't get it. And then for Kyle Shanahan to not realize that his play calling is becoming compromised because the lack of what Jimmy G can do. I don't get it. But I get why he wasn't sought after this offseason. Teams ain't stupid, man. Well, Carolina is, but a lot of these teams ain't stupid, bro. They see what Jimmy G is, and they understand that he is only standing up right now because of Kyle Shanahan's play calling and everything around him. Because this is not a championship team with Jimmy G. It's just not. I don't care if they reel off a couple wins, because I don't even think their division is as hard. A lot of these divisions aren't as hard as we originally thought them out to be. The Saints ain't the team that I thought they were going to be. I'm pretty sure the Rams will get it going eventually, but that division ain't nowhere near as great as we thought it was going to be. So they could still make the playoffs and still be a mediocre team or below average team, but it's no shot this team is winning the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. It's no way. This offense is too heavily compromised. The defense is going to have to put together the year that they had when they got to the Super Bowl, which I don't see happening. So, yeah, to me, that I don't even know how the fuck that game was on late on Sunday Night Football, because next week, the Baltimore Ravens play against the Buffalo Bills. That's Josh Allen taking on Lamar Jackson Part 3. And that shit is a 1 o'clock game. That shit's not even the Sunday night game. But somehow, the Broncos and 49ers is a fucking Sunday night game. The Broncos taking on, like, Russell Wilson taking on all the former fucking teams he used to play, as if we did not see him play these teams enough. Now him playing against them with Denver is all primetime games for some reason. Explain that shit to me. And I also want to point out, Lamar Jackson was rated lower than Dak Prescott. A lot of quarterbacks, Russell Wilson on them top 10 lists, Derek Carr. And I said at the time it's laughable that because Lamar Jackson's a top 5 quarterback. I've been saying that. I told y'all how I feel about him. I said there's only 2 quarterbacks who I think are better than him right now. And that was Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Brady. So that was 3. I don't even think Brady and Aaron Rodgers are better than Lamar Jackson. I also don't think Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, but Lamar Jackson to me is about to be the best quarterback in the NFL, because Lamar Jackson about to be just the straight up best player in the NFL for me. Quarterback, player, whatever you want to call that, man. But it's very funny that I said at the time it's atrocious to have, and it's just stupid to have certain quarterbacks rated above him. A Dak Prescott, a Derek Carr. Like, those make no sense. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. Certain quarterbacks being rated over Lamar make no sense, because it just tells me that accomplishments of a quarterback, what he's done and what he's done for his team and what his team has done with him, don't fucking matter. Because all of those dudes I just named have not accomplished more in their careers than Lamar Jackson. Most of them dudes I just named came in around the same time or been there longer, if I'm talking about a Derek Carr. So to me, when I looked at some of those ratings for those quarterbacks, it was laughable to me. And then I fast forward and realized only the Raiders could get worse when they add Devontae Adams. Only the Raiders. Like, people, you talk so much shit about Jalen Hurts, right? Oh, he can't throw like this and that. Well, all I know is you gave him a great receiver, and combined with his work ethic and his will to want to win, look at what he is doing right now. Sitting in the MVP conversation. Now, he is not the MVP right now. I think that is Lamar Jackson, but I definitely got him in the top 3. I think I got him in front of Josh Allen, to be completely honest with you, because those are my 3 candidates right now. Lamar, Allen, and Hurts. But let's get to this Baltimore game, man. This defense for Baltimore, man. Listen, they had some turnovers at the end of the game. I imagine they started to feel those tweets that me and other Raven fans were spitting out on the defense. But it really is a shame that a couple things about this franchise. It's just an absolute shame that Lamar Jackson, being what he is, the greatest. I mean, it's just a shame that the Baltimore Ravens didn't give that man his money. I mean, because it's fucking stupid. I said at the beginning of the season, listen, all they're going to do is hurt themselves. You're going to end up having to pay him more than what Deshaun Watson got anyways, because for one, he's already better than Deshaun Watson, but you're about to let this man go out there, and now he could actually go win it. He's about to go win an MVP. He's Aaron judging this shit. Like, and to me, what pisses me off is that he ever had to do this in the first place. Lamar Jackson shouldn't have had to prove that he could go out there and do this again. What he done meant to this franchise, for them not to have paid him, I really despise Steve Bisciotti for that. Oh, we don't pay that type of price. Why not? You can't tell me because nobody. Tell me that's not. Tell me it's a bad business decision, because all I'm gonna hear is we don't think he deserved that type of Listen, like Shannon Sharp said, the Ravens did not believe in Lamar Jackson. God did. Lamar did. And I'm pretty sure Hove did. I did. The Ravens didn't, and that's going to cost them. The price of the brick is skyrocketing. Skyrocketing. I'm talking about yesterday it was 1.2 mil. Today it's $1 billion. Like, it's the Ravens have done themselves such a disservice by not paying that man before this season started. And I said it. It makes no sense when you look at everything this man done in his career. If you want to try to play the numbers stats game, then go ahead and play that game. But if you look at this kid play and you realize what he is meant for this team and what he would be if he was on a team that actually was better and had better weapons, it's a shame that the Baltimore Ravens chose not to pay this man, because they are about to eat one of the biggest bullets I've ever seen. This about to be a different type of caliber, because they is about to, bro, he could already go in and say, I want $300 million fully guaranteed, bro. Dead ass. Like, at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if the Ravens was preying on this man's downfall, because they know they about to eat a massive bag. They know it. And they could try to play the franchise tag game. I promise you that shit won't last for 3 years. I promise you, if they know he ain't re-signing because they won't pay him, I promise you that will not play out for 3 years. They will end up trading him to a different team for more compensation rather than just letting him walk at the end of that 3-year thing. Because for one, the price tag will be far too high on that franchise tag, and it'll hurt them from making moves around the other team. Second off, who's to say that Lamar Jackson's attitude won't completely change by that point in time? If he done put together another MVP season, they still won't pay him the type of money he's looking for. Who say he won't hold out then at that point in time? I'm telling you, people keep talking about how this will take a 3-year thing for him. It won't. Just like I said that the 76ers, when they made that moronic ass statement, oh, we got Ben Simmons for the next 4 years, we could play this for 4 years. No, you won't. No, you won't. The NFL is not about to let you do this to a player. I don't give a fuck if he breaking off his contract. Teams do it all the time. They've been doing it for centuries. The NBA is not about to let Ben Simmons be held hostage on a team he no longer wants to play for. You can look at, you can say all you want to, oh, this ain't right. He should have to complete his obligations to the franchise, blah, blah, blah. Nah. A team's not about to be holding a player of that caliber hostage. So I do not believe Baltimore will be able to play this 3-year game. Not to mention, this ain't Kirk Cousins. When Kirk Cousins was able to play that game, a ton of teams wasn't bidding for Kirk Cousins. When teams realized that Lamar Jackson is on the market, a whole bunch of teams, bro, it's like only 2 teams that won't be trying to get him. And that's the Bills and the Chiefs. Every other team in the NFL is going to be trying to get Lamar Jackson. Maybe the Bengals will try to will stick with Burrow. But there is no way. Maybe the Chargers try to keep Herbert, even though I think Lamar better than both of them motherfuckers. But it's no shot the Baltimore Ravens think that they finna come out the winners of this whole situation. It's no way. And like I said, I look at this as a complete disrespect to Lamar Jackson for what he has been for this team. And this just show you nice guys. Nice guys, listen, they don't finish last because Lamar ain't finished yet. But this just show you being a better person don't always pay off. Because the way dickhead fans perceive being an asshole to get for players to get their money, if Lamar was doing that, he would have already got his money. But because he want to be a good guy, in quotations, the Ravens get to play with this man's money and health. And I don't like that. I really don't. But, you know, MVP going to do what an MVP going to do. Lamar is Timothy Jackson. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Lamar is going to be him and continue to be him. And like I said, it's disrespectful. At first it was laughable. Now it's just straight disrespectful that Baltimore chose not to pay this man when you just look at how great. Like, this is a generational talent. And they said, yeah, we don't think you're worth Deshaun Watson money. For whatever twisted reason they created in their heads. And I truly don't believe John Harbaugh actually was one of the people who agreed. I think John Harbaugh wanted Lamar to get that type of contract because I think he is afraid to lose Lamar Jackson. I really think John Harbaugh would have paid Lamar Jackson that contract if he could have. Because I think that's how close he is with Lamar, where he do not want to chance anything. And I think John Harbaugh know that Lamar Jackson can win a Super Bowl. But, hey, Baltimore gonna learn the hard way. In the last game, I'm gonna talk about Oh, no, I'm not hopping away from that Baltimore game. I want to say something real fast. Patrick Queen, I don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on Patrick Queen, talking trash about this man. Patrick Queen should not be a starting linebacker in the NFL. I done said multiple times he should be a outside linebacker who rushed the quarterback because of his speed. Patrick Queen do more to hurt Baltimore's defense than help it. It just is what it is. If you just go look at the tapes, it is what it is. He do far more to hurt this team than to help it. And at this point, to continuously see him go out there and play makes no sense because he just is not good enough. He ain't seen a tackle he won't miss. He ain't seen a pass coverage he won't blow or be lost in. Like, Patrick Queen, fundamentally, may be one of the worst players, linebackers I've ever seen. And I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be funny or nothing like that. Fundamentally, Patrick Queen may be one of the worst linebackers I have ever seen in my career. And it is not close. Like, excuse me. The man is bad in pass coverage. He atrocious in pass coverage. He is atrocious in run coverage. He missed tackles left and right. Not only do he miss tackles because dudes just shake him off and whatnot, he can run clean pass tackles. Like Patrick Quinn, I don't know if I've ever seen a linebacker who is so multi-talented at missing tackles. Like, he got so many different ways he can miss a tackle. Or so many different ways he can be atrocious in coverage. Like, Patrick Queen should not be starting. He should not be on the NFL football field as a starter. Like, I don't know what team right now you could put him on and he would not be this bad. Like, I don't know what Baltimore is teaching this dude in training because it ain't working. Like, Patrick Queen has easily, to me, out of every linebacker, and you know, you got some linebackers who really not that great, but they get a whole bunch of tackles. And so some people might get confused on the two. So like an example is Blake Martinez when he was with the Giants. A lot of fucking tackles, so people like, oh, he got to be great, right? Not so much. Luke Kuechly get a lot of tackles because that motherfucker is just a magnet. If the ball is somewhere, he's going to be at it. He can get you in the backfield and all type of things. Luke Kuechly's tackles actually matter. Blake Martinez and that team sucked, so the defense was on the field all the time, which required him racking up a lot of tackles. They could never get off, so he was racking up a lot of tackles. So it's a difference in those tackles mattering for Luke and mattering for Blake. Patrick Queen ain't even the Blake level of a player where he getting tackles that don't really matter because he bad. Because he missed so many tackles. He's so bad in coverage. Like, I said it at the time and people was telling me last year and the year before that, like, because I thought Patrick Queen was bad the first year I saw him. Like, throughout that year I was saying, like, I don't really know why we drafted this dude. Like, this is not a first-round linebacker. Like, I was saying that on Twitter the first year we had Patrick Queen, but it wasn't me, like, not giving him a chance. It was just, like, this should not have been a first-round middle linebacker. Like, just off of what I was seeing, I knew that that was not a middle linebacker who should have been taken in the first round. The second year, he looked worse than he did the first year, and I'm like, wait a minute now. Like, I'm looking at all these different parts of his game that I think is the reason why he's struggling, and I'm like, wait a minute. This definitely is not a dude who should have been taken in the first round. But it's like nobody pay attention to how bad Patrick. I truly believe if Patrick Queen was drafted in the first 5 picks and he was playing the way he'd been playing for us, he would be talked about more. But because he was drafted so late in the draft and we have Lamar Jackson, Marlon Humphreys, and other big name certified players, he get lost in the shuffle. But Patrick Queen is worse than the dude that was released from the Cowboys a couple years ago. Jalen, I can't even remember his name, Jalen Smith. Patrick Queen surviving on Baltimore up to this point makes no sense because he is nowhere near as good as, like, Patrick Queen. This is going to sound fucked up. He is a bust right now. He is not. The only reason you can't say that is because Baltimore don't have nobody else to put out there. It's no way Baltimore is bringing him back. It's no way that they have to be saying to themselves, man, he was a first pick in the draft. He was one of our first round picks, man. We have to look out and try to keep. No. You can clearly get so far and away better at this position. For one, they don't have a good middle linebacking core altogether, even though they have players on it. Like, Josh Bynes is our best linebacker. I don't even remember if LJ Ford is healthy or if he's playing yet, but Josh Bynes is the best linebacker on our field right now, and he was towards the back end of last year. Patrick Queen has not looked like he's made an improvement. He the same dude, missing tackles, bad in coverage, like bad communication, run himself out of plays. He should not be on the football field. So the fact that he continued to get trotted out there on a weekly basis, to me, is malpractice at this point. Like, it should not continuously be happening. The fact that you don't feel like as a franchise that you have a better replacement for Patrick Queen is a problem because Patrick Queen is not a starting level linebacker who you should be thinking to yourself, oh man, we can't find nobody to replace him. Patrick Queen is playing like a backup a double backup, like your third string linebacker. It should not be hard to find somebody who is competent enough to replace him. Go look at the tape. I am not making this shit up. Patrick Queen is not a good linebacker. Fundamentally, he is bad. Technique-wise, he is bad. He cannot tackle. Like, I don't know what, and I be seeing people sometimes try to make excuses like, oh, Patrick Queen really, like, I saw somebody say, I saw him on Twitter, somebody was like, Matt Jones really getting chippy with it, and Pat tweeted like, oh, you should have seen what he, heard what he told me. He probably told you that you cheeks, my boy, and he ain't lying. Like, bro, sometimes you got players like a Patrick, and it's gonna sound fucked up, but I don't care. You're gonna have players that's like Patrick Queen who really not good players. But nobody realized that because the Baltimore Raven fan base is such a great fan base. They not finna be shitting on the man. Plus, they got so many other players to love on the team. They would ignore him before they decided to shit on Patrick Queen. But I'm telling you, if you ask Baltimore Raven fans who actually look at these games, if they would be willing to trade away Patrick Queen. Except for the bozos who continuously say, because I do still see the Baltimore fans who say, you got to give him a chance. Bro, these players are not taking 3 to 4 years to break out. Lamar Jackson's first full year, he won a unanimous MVP. C.J. Mosley was great from the moment he stepped on the field. Luke Kuechly was great from the moment he stepped on the field. When you draft a middle line, Roquan Smith, when you draft middle linebackers in the first round, you are expecting them to come out and be great. Patrick Queen has not even been good for this team. And a lot of his best year was because he had L.J. Fort having a phenomenal year beside him, covering up for everything. And I saw that year, and I still was saying Patrick Queen is not a good middle linebacker. The blessing is that he got L.J. Fort beside him right now. But I don't want to keep going in on Patrick Queen, bro, because I'm just saying, I really don't think Patrick Queen should be on a football field starting right now. And, there's going to be people who hear that, like, bro, you don't even play football, and this. I understand all that. But if we just looking at Patrick Queen right now, the way he is playing is not conducive to winning. You cannot accept in victory what you would not allow in defeat. Patrick Queen has not been good in his 3 years in Baltimore as a middle linebacker or as a linebacker. Like, it's no way that you look at him play and think to yourself, yeah, he should be getting trotted out there every week. It's no way. But, we're going to touch on these other games some more. Before I leave, though, people got to stop hating on them Dolphins, bro. I understand they're crazy stats, but this is exactly why you don't watch the stats. Two of them boys won that game. Listen, Josh Allen, they piled up a lot of stats and things like that, but Josh Allen could have had 2 pick sixes in the game. He did not look as sharp as he usually look in the game. The defense, they played, and then, people want to say, oh, they was missing this, they was missing that. Listen, bro, I get it all. The offense had a rough game in Miami. It just is what it is. But we're going to talk about that shit a little bit more. But I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. That was a Thursday night football recap. Hey, the Denver Broncos, what a fucking performance. And Jimmy G with the rare safety pick 6 type shit, bro. Well, what a day. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Tell somebody fuck with it. Tell somebody you love them. I'm going to be back later on to do all the other teams. I appreciate you, man. Give my Dukes a kiss on the cheeks. Give Pops a hug. I fuck with you. I love you. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home.